Hello and welcome back to another episode of Factorio Tutorials. I'm never going to get used to saying that. But yeah, as you can see, I did a little bit of work off screen, basically getting our smelting operation set up. The iron on the right side you might recognize from what I set up before. The copper on the left side is just basically a mirror image of that. They're both using the coal vein going through the middle there. I kind of expanded our iron mining and kind of cleaned it up a little bit using the splitter there. And our copper only has 3 miners on it right now, but once that gets kind of caught up, I think that will be just fine. One trick that I did use, and I use it quite a bit, is using a splitter to kind of fill both sides of the belt there. And how it works is you split it off and just kind of leave it back in there. And I've done that on the output for the copper and the iron as well. There you can kind of see a little bit better what's going on. So I think probably the best place to do our factory, at least our red science factory, would be off to the left here, I guess. That doesn't really leave us much room for expansion, but I think that would be the easiest to work with, at least starting out. So, as you can see, I have 2 full belts leading off here. One's iron, one's copper. I'm going to need a lot more belts, so I'm just going to get those crafted right away. And I'm going to bring both of these down and kind of have them go, side by side. And so what's going to happen, basically, I need to make a bunch of factories too. I should have been doing that off screen. But what's going to happen is we're going to have ultimately 5 factories making red science, and then we are going to have 1 factory supporting that. Because if you look at the production screen here, for red science you need 1 copper plate and 1 gear wheel, and the gear wheel takes 2 iron. So as you'll see here in a minute, I'm also going to need a bunch of inserters. Again, stuff I probably should have been doing off screen, but that's fine. I'm just going to fill up on resources here. Alright, so we've got our factory, and how I usually like to do it is I'll get a couple fast inserters set up too, or just one. One's fine. Is just all right next to each other. And the first factory is going to be our iron gear wheel factory. And that usually takes a fast inserter to support all of these other factories. And that's going to go to a belt behind all of these factories. And then it'll be picked up by inserters on the back side here. Something like that. And we can turn these to red science here. Another shortcut, if you hold down Shift and right click on something that's already set up, it'll copy that to whatever you left click on. So I've right clicked on that. It's got that selected to copy, and it'll paste right over as I'm clicking on it. Kind of a neat little trick. And I'm going to get some long-armed inserters as well. Now again, there's definitely more than one way to set up this red science factory. I just like this way because I like having everything running off of one line. So eventually we're going to expand the iron and copper through there and set up our green science factory. But yeah, for right now, this is going to be all we can really do. Something like that, and then we'll hook this up to the main power like so, and it's going to start producing. Oh, one inserter short. So that's going to spit out all of these belts, or all of these gears, and they're eventually going to fill up this belt. Once this gets caught up, it keeps up pretty well. Make a few more belts here, and we'll have an offload belt there. 5 more insert or long-armed inserters. So these are all doing their thing. I think they fill up with, well, must fill up with 4 science packs. Looks like. But yeah, so once I have these inserters, we can offload everything. And we'll go ahead, just so that I don't have to make another, or put another power pole down. Oops. Not exactly what I want to do. So do that. Again, not what I wanted to do. And there we go. So that'll fill up that line relatively easily. And I'm just going to go ahead and direct this down right now. And I'm going to pick up this laboratory that's way up here, out of the way of everything. And I'm going to construct, let's go with 4 more of them for right now. And we'll just go ahead and have those right off to the side here. We'll get 5 more inserters queued up as well. And I'm running low on materials. It's easy to do. Just keep everything kind of full here. And as you can see, this is keeping up quite well with the demand of the Red Science Factory, even though they're kind of going at full force right now. So we've got a couple more down here. Let's go ahead and pick out what research we're going to do next. Let's see. I usually go the defensive route right now, but I'm actually in peaceful mode. So let's go with steel. Steel's a good one to have. And I'm not going to start those off quite yet. I'm going to get this power ram. Once we get the rest of the laboratories going, we will turn that on. Okay, we got one more there. If I would have been planning a little bit more, I would have done all this off screen and it would have gotten set up and it would have been so nice. But unfortunately, you get to listen to me ramble on while we wait for stuff to craft. Sorry, but that's how it goes sometimes. Alright, so we'll do that, and we'll hook all of these into the network here, like so. And so those are going to eat up the red science, which is made here. But 5 of these is actually enough to keep 10 laboratories going for most of the science stuff. Some of the stuff that has a slower or a faster research time, like steel, it'll eat it up a little bit better. But yeah, what else can I do with just red science? Electronics, that's a good one. So yeah, it'll keep doing its thing. And since we are only 10 minutes into this episode, I might as well go ahead and do green science as well. So we'll expand this down this way. Now the way I like to do it is a little bit more compact than the way I've seen other people do it, but there's nothing wrong with that. Definitely more than one way to do everything in this game. So, let's see here. We'll run our materials down here a little bit further. Get a bunch more belts set up, and we will get a few more factories queued up as well. And actually, for this build, I'm going to need automation 2, because we're actually going to use a second tier factory. So I'll get that queued up as soon as electronics goes through, which I think I need electronics for that research anyway, so it'll be fine. Alright, so there's that. Automation 2. Yeah, we did need that. We'll go ahead and research that right away. But I can at least get the groundwork laid for this before we started on that. So, all right. So if we look at what we need for green science packs, we need one transport belt and one inserter. Now, the way factories work, you can't just make transport belts. You have to make all the components for it. So if you look at transport belts, you need an iron plate and an iron gear wheel. Iron gear wheel needs 2 iron plates. And again, if you look at the inserter, you need iron plate, iron gear wheel, electronic circuit, and the electronic circuit takes iron plate and copper cable. So it's basically getting it broken down to its lowest components. So, first thing I'm going to work on is the belt factory. So we'll go ahead and turn that into a belt factory just so that we remember what we're doing. Now, if you remember right, it needs iron plate and iron gear wheel. So I'm going to turn this factory into a gear wheel, just like we have over there. Now, I've seen a lot of people consolidate these 2 factories, which is nothing wrong with that. I just find, personally, that it doesn't really keep up with my needs. So, yeah, that's the main reason I don't do it that way. Oh, and I'm just out of range there. That's too bad. Let's just get something going on. Alright, so we've got that, and that's all we need for the transport belts. I'm going to go ahead and get a factory 2 set up. Now this is going to be our inserter factory, but we need electronic circuits for that. So what we're going to do in this stage where everything doesn't take very long to research. Okay. Let's go with that. Okay. Hopefully I haven't lost you here. Okay, so this is going to be our inserter factory. And the reason that's got to be a factory 2 is because assembling machines can only do things that require 2 or less ingredients. Assembling machine 2s can handle pretty much anything. So that's why that has to be an assembling machine 2. The rest of these can be assembling machine 2s, but they're more expensive. And at this stage of the game, it's really not worth the extra bonuses that you get. So I'll go ahead and power this up. And like I said, these take iron gear wheels, iron plates, and electronic circuits. And the electronic circuits take... Let me get this powered up first, and we can have it so that it kind of shows you all at once. So those take iron plates and copper wires, which I'm gonna actually put blue inserters on those. So actually I'm gonna bring this back. Okay, so copper wire. And there we go, it's producing everything. So the next step is going to be getting all these to the green science factories, which I'm going to have 5 total. And I should have made the inserters first. I'll just go ahead and cancel those. And queue them up after this. Alright. So, like I mentioned in the last episode, every belt has 2 sides to it. And you can have more than one item on a belt. So, for instance, these transport belts, if I put them on this belt, will go on that side of the belt. And if I loop them around, like so, they will be on the close side of the belt to all of the factories. Now, whenever you put an inserter on there, it always goes to the far side of the belt. So if we bring this down and do the same thing with the inserter factory, that will start putting the inserters on the other side of the belt. So that way, you have both ingredients for the green science factories on one side of the belt, which is quite handy. So I'm going to do this a little bit differently than I usually do, just because of the space that we're in. I'm going to bring these over this way, bring them down. And these are all going to be green science factories. Do our copy and paste trick. Get some inserters set up for it. Bring this down. And I might have to go hunting for some wood because I'm out of, there we go. That wasn't too hard to find. Ran out of poles. Keep your dirty jokes to yourselves, you perverts. God. Okay. So, there's that. Get all those powered up. And so these inserters are going to take one of each ingredient for each one that we get made. These are going to just keep making the ingredients, like so. And then we're going to add another belt here. And what's the best way that I can do this? I probably want to go all the way up. I'm out of iron. Just steal some off this belt. No big deal. Probably want to go all the way up. And once I do a T here, that'll actually have this side of the belt be red science, and this side of the belt will be green science. So we'll go ahead and get that set up. Like so. Now in this case, it would circle around to where the green science would end up on this belt, but it doesn't matter when it's a T intersection like that. Basically, even if this was on the top of that belt, when it came together, the green would be on that side, the red would be on that side. If that makes sense. I hope I'm explaining myself correctly. Alright, so let's do something that needs both red and green, like advanced material processing. That's always a good one to have. And again, these factories are going to load up on both ingredients as they come through. Green science is still kind of catching up, but yeah. We have a functioning red and green science factory, which is pretty awesome. Now, one trick I do like to do, really quick before I end this episode, I know I'm running a little bit long, I do like to set up a box right by the, well, it's probably not going to work on this inserter factory, but it'll work on this factory. That way I don't have to craft belts. It saves a lot of time in the long run. So, and really, these belts get made so fast, you can empty that box out and it'll fill right back up, and it really won't slow down any production on the assembly belt line. So, so yeah, just a little trick that I use. Really doesn't slow anything else up. Most of the time I do that with the inserters as well, but I don't really have room to do that, so unfortunately I'm not able to. But yeah, so that's pretty much how you set up your science. And as I expand, I usually like to have 10 laboratories going. This setup is about right for running 10 laboratories. I don't have it spaced out quite right, but if I moved this over a couple spaces, it would work out so that I had 5 on each side. And yeah, so hopefully you learned a little bit. Hopefully I wasn't too hard to follow. If you have any questions or comments or anything like that, feel free to leave those down below. And as always, take care of yourselves out there, and thanks for watching. Oh, wow. I might need help. Oh. Alright. There's like... Oh god, I'm out of ammo. Oh, that's not
I'm coming. Can you head to me? Oh god, I'm running as fast as I can.
I think I got them.
Alright.
They're all small fighters, but there were like
a lot of them.
20 of them. Yeah.
Damn. Do you have armor?
No.